Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our press briefing. It's a real pleasure and a privilege to have a chance to represent Team Microsoft today. It's day 52 for me. Who's counting? It's been just an amazing, 5 weeks or so for me, and it's perhaps the most striking thing for me has been how, in spite of having spent most of my adult life, 22 years at Microsoft, you see things from a very fresh set of eyes and a fresh perspective and relearn the place in some sense. And I think T.S. Eliot captured it best when he said that you should never cease from exploration, and at the end of all exploring you arrive where you started and know the place for the very first time. And for me, that has been more true than ever before. And today marks that beginning of exploration for us. Our customers want to know where we are going, what is our innovation agenda, and our team is really ready for it. We want to talk about one aspect of our strategy going forward. It's a very important aspect, and over the course of the next couple of weeks and couple of months, we will come back, and many other leaders on our team will come back and talk about other aspects. And in all of that, you will see what the new core for Microsoft is and what our innovation agenda is. And most importantly, what I want to key in on is what we as a company can uniquely do to serve our customers better. And everything that we do going forward is grounded in this worldview, which I describe as the world of ubiquitous computing and ambient intelligence. It's an amazing canvas for innovation, and it's an amazing opportunity for growth for our company. When you think about the canvas itself, there are three aspects that really jump out. The first one is the world in the next 5 years and the 10 years is not going to be defined by the form factors that we know and love today, but by the variety of form factors that will come to be over the coming years. If you think about the coevolution of silicon, hardware systems, and software will birth many new form factors at a pretty rapid pace, and that'll just make computing ubiquitous. The second thing is that pretty much everything we do is going to be digitized. That means every interaction we as humans have with other humans, every interaction that we have with machines, and the interactions between machines is all going to get digitized more rapidly than ever before in our history. And all that leads to perhaps the most important trend of all, which we are at the very beginning phases, which is to reason over all that digitized information with vast amounts of capability like machine learning in real time, and to really take all that insight you get by reasoning over that data and improve the fidelity of those very interactions, improve what you can do as humans with machines, between machines, and what have you. So that, to me, is the future that we are building towards. And, we describe this and you see it today in the growth of the number of users who are connected to the internet. They all have devices. And when I say devices, I mean pretty broadly. It's the phones that you carry. It's the tablets. It's the big screens that you interact with. It's the sensors in the room that you enter. And that is what's going to be everywhere. And then all of these things also have applications. So that exponential growth across connected users, connected devices, and applications is what is leading to this growth of the cloud. Now, we describe this, and I talked about this in my first mail to all Microsoft employees, as a mobile-first, cloud-first world. And like any place that's got predominantly computer scientists, I get back this mail saying, hey, look, how can two things be first? Do you have a problem with ordinal numbers or something? And the reality is, it's one and the same. It definitely is that the cloud that is not connected to devices is just latent potential, because how does the cloud interact with the real world? It is through by being able to get to devices. It could be a sensor, it could be a mobile device, it could be a tablet, it could be a big screen in a conference room or a living room. And likewise, a device which is not connected to the cloud just cannot complete the scenarios. So to us, it is one and the same, and it's the magical coming together of the cloud and the mobile. That's really the topic that we want to talk about today. It's that intersection that we want to talk about today. And when we think about the Microsoft Cloud for mobility or mobile scenarios, there's two very unique things that we bring to the table. And that's pretty much going to drive everything that you'll see us talk today and do going forward as well. The first one is that we think about users, both individuals and organizations, spanning across all devices. So that is one aspect that you'll see us stress a lot. And second is the coming together of the three key constituents that make all this magic happen. That is, end users, developers, and IT professionals. Microsoft has always been about bringing those three constituents together with platforms and applications, and we now do that in a mobile-first, cloud-first world. And that's our pursuit, that's our innovation agenda, and that's what you'll hear us talk a lot about. So first thing is about people. At the end of the day, if you look at our daily life, we have a set of activities that we do. We could be reading, we could be capturing, we could be listening, collaborating, organizing, researching. These are all activities that we do across a variety of devices. We're not bound, in fact, to one device, one place, or one time. And the real goal for us is to step up to provide the applications and services that empower every user across all of these devices and all of these experiences. So that's perhaps the job number one that we do, which is to empower people to be productive, do more across all devices. The second thing is around developers. Developers are looking for their canvas to innovate, their opportunity to innovate, and they want to be able to complete these very same scenarios that Microsoft is working on and to be able to build on other people's work. So that means they want a very rich surface area for what it is that they want to create and to be able to build on what we have done. They want to be able to span consumer scenarios and business scenarios. They want to be able to tackle the hard problems that exist in supporting multiple platforms. They want to be able to scale their business seamlessly as they have more customers. So these are all the hard challenges for developers that we're stepping up to solve and empower developers to build applications that in turn allow individuals and organizations to be more. And then the last constituent here is the IT professional. Now, there was a study done by Forbes. It's a survey that was done by Forbes where they went and surveyed all the tough jobs, or more importantly, I guess, the most stressful jobs. And one of the things that made it was so executives and CEOs made that list for sure. But also all journalists and PR professionals made that list. But the one constituent that I think they missed was the IT professional. If you think about what is happening today with the proliferation of devices and trends like bring your own device, as well as bring your own application or SaaS applications into the enterprise, perhaps the toughest challenge for the IT professional is to be both empowering the end user to be able to do what they want to do, and at the same time protecting the corporate asset. And that challenge of being able to take a people-centric approach and yet allowing the IT professional to be a hero when it comes to protecting the corporate asset is what we want to step up to really do. So it's this coming together that we refer to as a cloud for everyone and every device. And today's briefing is all about giving you what is, I would say, the first step on a journey of making this a great innovation vector for all of Microsoft. And to give you a more in-depth feel for a lot of what we have today, both in terms of demos and context, and then I'll come back and talk about it. But at first, I wanted to have Julia White give you a good demo of everything that we're talking about. Thank you, Julia.
Yep, absolutely. So in this cloud-first, mobile-first world, Microsoft is absolutely focused on empowering people to get more done wherever they need to and on any device. So now I get a chance to show you what Microsoft's doing to help people do more on the device they choose, helping IT secure and manage those devices, and provide a rich development platform in the cloud to develop apps so we can all do more. Now to start this, I'm going to go to my iPad. Now, Microsoft is absolutely committed to creating great mobile applications. And you see on my iPad, we already have a number of apps, right? I have my Yammer app, Link, Dynamics, Bing, Skype, OneNote, and one of my favorites, OneDrive. So let me go ahead and open that OneDrive app. And thanks to cloud storage with OneDrive, I have access to all of my content on all my devices, including, of course, my iPad. And I can get access to it right away. So I'm going to go ahead and open this Word document here. And you see, it brings it up in the native viewer. But unfortunately, this is what happens. My doc actually has a table of contents. It's gone. My graphics are on top of my text. And if I scroll down, I see that there's a bunch of text kind of jumbled on the side. I can't even read it at all. If I only had the real Office for iPad, I could get more done. Well, it turns out, as of today, you do. So approximately 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, Office for iPad goes live in the App Store, very specifically Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, live for everyone to download and enjoy. And as you can see, this is Word on the iPad. And as you'd expect, my document looks amazing. There's my table of contents. If I scroll down, you can see there's embedded graphics, even my footnotes, everything looks perfect. And if I go down, you can see I even have tables and charts right here in my Word document. And as you'd expect with Office, I have my ribbon, so it's very familiar. And I have all those very satisfying features that you expect in Office, of course. Now, this is unmistakably Word, but it's also very natural on the iPad. And this is a design paradigm we balance to make sure these are great, familiar Office applications, but also wonderful in a touch and iPad experience. And that way we know all of our users can be comfortable using these apps and be confident right away to get more done. Now, it's also very easy for me to interact with my content, of course, and I can just select in here, and I can grab that. And you see, right when I select text, in a touch-friendly way, I get all of my key navigation, cut, copy, paste. I can even hit define, bring my dictionary right in. But I can also do all of the formatting I might want. I have bold, italicize, underline. But I can do even more rich things, too. For example, there is my themes menu. And you see just a little subtle thing, but I want to draw your attention to it. You see how I have my keyboard up, and I have my themes menu. And it's shortened so that it doesn't kind of overlay my keyboard or go behind my keyboard, right? So if I close my keyboard, there you see all my options render. It's a little thing, but it's a nice example of the fit and finish and the care we've taken to make this a great Office experience. Now, I can also interact with these charts as an example. Now, these I actually created in Excel, and I pulled it into my Word document. But even in Word, I can interact with it. And you see that great Office experience of when I touch the chart, I got my chart menu right here. And so you can see that I can, even in Word, coming from Excel, I can do different formatting, I can do different styles. So I have, again, that rich Office experience people know and love. And then let me go down and actually show you how easy it is to interact even with like rich photography. So let me touch on that. And you have this nice big touch handle, so I can just zoom in, I can resize, get just the look I'm going for. And then I can actually just reflow that. And look how the text just moves right around that picture. So I can do really sophisticated layout, again, all in touch. Now, this is an example of something no one but Office can do. And this is why our 1 billion Office users love Office and can't live without it. And now they get it on the iPad, too. Now, another thing, as I'm doing this and making these beautiful design elements and making my Word document perfect, I can also be confident that as I move across my PC, my Mac, my phone, the browser, everything looks just as I wanted it, because it's the promise of Office. We keep that file fidelity, so everything always looks exactly as I wanted, and I never lose content. Now, creating beautiful content is certainly important, but so is collaborating, right? And so that's why we've built co-auth right into these Office apps, just like we have in all of our Office applications. So if I go up, and you can see that I actually have 5 people editing this document right now. Now, it's saved in OneDrive, right? So we have one master source of the truth, and we're all editing it right now in real time. And it helps us collaborate so much more efficiently. And also, the other part of OneDrive is because everything's saved to the cloud by default, if I'm making edits on the go, everything's saved. I never have to worry about losing anything as I'm making my edits. The other part of certainly collaborating is I want to be able to do rich reviewing and kind of see all the markup and stuff. So, of course, with Office, you can do that. So let me go ahead and turn on my markup. And then you can see that I have things like red lines and edits and even threaded comments. So I can have that great, rich Office editing and reviewing experience, too, on the iPad. All right, so now let's go to Excel. Because, you know, the iPad has a reputation of helping you kind of look cool. But now with Excel, it can help you look smart, too. So here I have my graphs. Everything looks great, of course, because it's in Excel. And if I swipe over, you can see even sophisticated things like my spark lines in this app, too. And thinking about how to interact in touch with even with financial and numerical information, we've been really thoughtful about that. So if I tap in here and I want to make an edit, you see my keyboard comes up. But notice this, if I go to my numbers keyboard, it's actually a custom numeric keyboard for Excel that makes it just easier to do equations and formulas. We've again another example of that nice touch we did to make sure there's a fantastic Office experience. So now I want to say I want to add a 0 and do that. And you'll see my chart automatically updates. It's all connected like you'd expect with Excel. But I can also do rich visualization. So here I'm in my chart menu. I could change the styles. I could change the types. Maybe I want to go see what the pie charts look like. But one of my favorite features, and unique to Office on the iPad, is I actually get recommendations. So the app's helping me suggest what might look good. And you see, these aren't just examples. This is actually my data. This is a preview of what my chart's going to look like before I select it. So let me go ahead and just grab that pie chart. That simple, all in touch. I didn't use a mouse and keyboard for any of this, but I was able to interact with even quantitative information in Excel. And hopefully by now you see this is definitely not the ported Windows app to an iPad. And it's certainly not the iPhone app, right, running in 2x. These are uniquely built for the iPad. Fantastic Office, great touch experience. All right, now let's go to PowerPoint. Take a look at that. And as you'd expect, of course, everything looks beautiful. All my imagery is there. And it's also very easy for me to interact with it with touch again. Let me just go ahead and insert that picture of San Francisco that I need. And I'll do that. And again, those nice big touch handles. I can just zoom down, get it just how I want it. And even, again, because it's Office, I can do all of my picture style designs. Look at all those options, right? So I can add the shadow and make it look just right. And, of course, PowerPoint is also about presenting. And we expect people to do a lot of presentations with PowerPoint on the iPad. And as I go in, you can see my animations look great. My beautiful transitions are there. You see everything kind of flows in. And again, really natural in a touch design. And of course, even that awesome origami transition that you need. Everyone can't live without that. But we've also done some cool things that are unique to just this app on the iPad. Things like if I touch and hold, I actually get a laser pointer. So as I'm presenting, I can really call attention to what I'm talking about. Or similarly, I can actually even go and annotate. So let me grab this yellow, and maybe I want to call attention to this or how this is rolling up. So again, give you some neat tools in a touch environment to really have a more impactful presentation. So hopefully it's giving you a great example of how rich these Office for iPad apps are. But it turns out I use a lot of devices in my life. And I want that great Office experience and my content available everywhere I go. And that's the promise of Office 365, that I have my great Office experience, all my devices, PC, Mac, phone, browser, and of course iPad. So I'm now going to go over to this amazing 82-inch Perceptive Pixel device, a giant tablet of sorts, and show you that same presentation I was just working on the iPad. And of course, because it's all saved in OneDrive, I have one source of the truth. And as I go out and I open it, you'll see that picture of San Francisco that I just dropped in. If I go to that slide, there it is. And it looks great. Again, the promise of Office 365 across all of my devices. Now, the Office for iPad apps have a freemium business model. So that means today, everyone on the planet with an iPad can go download these apps and use for free the ability to read and present your Office content. Now, with an Office 365 subscription, users have the ability to both create new Office content and do all the editing they'd like on their iPad app. So that means effective today, our Office 365 subscribers have the full capabilities of the Office for iPad apps, joining the application experience they have on their PC, Mac, phone, and browser. And as we move forward, you'll see us bring beautiful Office experience touch first into the Windows Store, as well as other popular platforms. So this is really just the beginning. Now, let's switch gears for a second, because Satya talked about the IT pro and that hard, stressful job they have managing users and devices and more cloud services, and expectations are only going up, right? And that's why it's so important that Microsoft's also helping IT manage all of this and empower their employees while maintaining security for the business. So to show this, I'm going to walk over to my Samsung Android tablet. And for the companies who are enabling what they call a bring your own device strategy, where employees can bring whatever devices they have and get work done on them, Microsoft has Intune, which is our cloud-based mobile device management solution. And what Intune does is provide a company portal for employees to log in and get access to the mobile apps and manage their devices that they need. So here I am in my company portal on my Android device, and you see I have all the apps that IT has provided to me and recommending that I use, but it's also where I can manage my devices. So if I go there, you see I have lots of devices I'm using to get my job done, and as a user, I can manage them in a self-service way right here. So maybe I got a new iPhone, and I want to give my old iPhone to my daughter. Well, right here, I can go in, I can open my configuration, and I can actually wipe or selectively remove just the business information, the business apps, the business content. But what stays on that iPhone are my personal pictures, my contacts. That way, I can just get all the business information off, but keep the personal aspects. Again, all in a self-service way from the company portal. So if I go back to apps here, you see this is actually a curated set of apps my IT is recommending. And this can be customized to me, so it can be unique to my job and my function. And you have lots of different kinds of applications. We have line of business apps, like my Contoso app that my company's built for me and provisions here. Also links to public apps in the App Store, as well as web apps as well, so it manages all different kinds. And you see Microsoft has a number of apps for Android as well, too. There's our Bing, Skype, OneNote, and let's say I want to get some work done, so I'm going to go into my Dynamics app, and that's going to take me to the public App Store, where I can download that. Now, the benefit of installing this from the company portal is that I, as an employee, know that this is the right app. I don't have to worry about if this is the one we're supporting. Is this what my business uses? I have the confidence that this is the one my IT shop wants me to use. And also for IT, I know my users are going to get the right app and not install the wrong one and then, of course, call me and bother me with that information. So it's great for both sides. Now, we've been working, of course, to help people with the bring your own device approach for a little while, but now we're moving into the frontier of helping IT manage when employees want to bring whatever cloud service they need to get their work done, which is increasingly the situation. And IT, of course, needs a way to manage access and identity with all these different cloud services their employees are using. And this is where Azure Active Directory comes into play, offering cloud-based identity and access management. And as many of you know, probably 90% of enterprises use Active Directory on premises today. But now we offer that same capability in our cloud-based way with Azure. Now, to show that, I'm going to go over to my PC and my browser, where I'm logged in to my Azure directory. And this is where I, as an IT or a developer, can manage all aspects of Azure. Now, I'm in my Active Directory area. And what happens here when I set up a single sign-on in my Azure Active Directory, it gives me what I would equivalent to your Facebook experience, right? In a personal life, I have my Facebook username and login, and I can use that to access a whole number of consumer services that I have. But I only have to remember that one username and password. It makes it very great, nice experience. Now, Azure Active Directory does that same thing in the workplace. I just have to have my one username and password, just those credentials, and I can access all the things I need to get done for work. So here I am in my directory, and you can see I can do things like add users to my directory, I can create groups in my directory, and I can even do see reports. And this shows me things like where are people logging in from, and lets me keep an eye on maybe suspicious behavior. Maybe someone's using the same login on two parts of the world at the same time. This gives me a view to help, again, keep my organization safe. Now, I can, of course, add applications to work with my Active Directory, too. So I'll go in there, and I will add an application. Do that here. And we have in the gallery a number of different applications that I can add. I'll go over spinning here for a second. There we go. And in the gallery, we actually have over 1,000 applications that are already integrated with Azure Active Directory, and folks across the industry that you may or may not expect to be working with Microsoft. And of course, there's different categories, so I can find just what I'm looking for as well. Now, when my organization adds any of these applications to my Active Directory, it means employees, again, just use that single username and password to get work and get authenticated right into these applications. But the other aspect of it is this is also the single place that IT has to manage that as well. So when an employee leaves the organization, I just go here, I remove those credentials, and then the employee doesn't have access to any of the business information. Again, an important aspect of keeping company information safe. Now, if I go back, and I'm going to show you an application I actually have configured for single sign-on already. So I go into my company applications list. In this case, I'll choose DocuSign. And I have DocuSign set up for single sign-on. And also, again, my employees can go straight in there and start using it. And this is also where I would set up things like multi-factor authentication. And that's a new added capability such that I can actually set it up, and my employees will be prompted for a second factor of authentication, maybe a code that comes in through text message or a voice call. And that helps me know that the people logging in really are who they say they are. Again, another important aspect of company protection. Now, everything I talked about across Intune mobile device management, Azure Active Directory and the capabilities there, plus Azure Rights Management, we're bringing together today and introducing the Enterprise Mobility Suite into a holistic offering. So now IT has one place to go to manage the bring your own device strategy, help in a cloud-based way, do identity and access management, as well as protect company data. All right, so now let's talk about our last, but certainly not least, the developer audience, which is so important to our community. And what I've showed you here, that DocuSign is set up in a web-based way to do single sign-on. We're now allowing developers to extend that to native apps on mobile devices. So I'm going to go to my iPhone to show you that experience. So here on my iPhone, I have that DocuSign native app installed. Now, what DocuSign has done is they've integrated with Azure Active Directory, but they've also integrated with Office 365. Because Office 365 is a great user experience, but it's also a rich, open, flexible development platform as well, making it possible to do great apps like this. So I'm going to go ahead and open my DocuSign app, and you see that, go in here, we'll cancel that. And you can see, because it's integrated with, maybe I will. All right, we're going to discard that. All right. There we go. Now you can see that right in the middle there, because it's built in Office 365, I have access to all my content sitting in SharePoint or Office 365. I can get out and I can get to all of my documents sitting in my Office 365 account. In this case, I have some documents I need to sign, as the DocuSign app lets me do that. So I can sign it right here on my phone, and it automatically saves right back to the cloud, my Office 365 account. I can open it in my OneDrive for Business account as well. So this is just one small example of what's possible when you're building with Azure and Office 365 as a developer. So you can create these really rich mobile experiences so we can all get more done. Now, as you've just seen, Microsoft is focused on that magical intersection where mobile and the cloud come together. And everything I showed you today was delivered by the cloud. The Office for iPad apps and Office 365 experience, Intune mobile device management, and Azure Active Directory. And Microsoft, of course, has a holistic approach across people, IT, and developers. And we really are delivering a cloud for everyone on every device. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye. So hopefully you got a great feel for the comprehensiveness of what we have set out to do when it comes to building a cloud for mobile devices. You obviously picked up on the news of Office on the iPad. It's a beautiful set of applications, and you also hopefully got a feel for how we're taking great focus and great care to make sure that Office on every device shines through. But there was a lot more behind the scenes, and I want to talk a little bit about each one of those elements in some detail. When it comes to Office 365, the vision is pretty straightforward. It is to make sure that the 1 billion Office users and growing can have access to the high-fidelity Office experience on every device they love to use. And Office on the iPad And today's announcement marks one more step in that direction. Today, the fact that anyone who's an Office 365 subscriber can get access to those beautiful applications on the iPad and do more is definitely the news of the day. But you can expect us, our commitment going forward is to make sure that we drive Office 365 everywhere. So that means across the web, across all phones, across all tablets, across PCs. That's our real commitment to Office 365 everywhere. Second, when it comes to developers, now, you saw that in the DocuSign demo that Julia did. The key salient point, perhaps, is that the most important developer API that we have is Office 365. If you look at how we're going about Office 365, we're building a great set of end-user experiences, but all the user data, starting with Azure Active Directory, which is user information, so that you can enable developers to do single sign-on with Office 365. OneDrive APIs, OneNote APIs, APIs for SharePoint information in lists, information about every aspect of Office 365 that pertains to users is getting exposed in a very modern way across all devices for developers to take advantage. So developers think a lot about user state, and all that user state happens to be in the broad SaaS application relating to communications. And that's one of the things that we enable. And besides that, we also have all of the power of Azure for you to be able to manage your application state. So you have storage APIs, you have notification APIs, you have the ability to elastically grow your application using more compute resources. And something called Azure Mobile Services really enables you to build your application. So the combination of what we're doing with Office as well as Azure provide developers the richest developer surface area for them to be able to express themselves in a very rich way and go after a very wide opportunity. Especially, perhaps, you would have noted that if you're an iOS developer today, you get to be able to really appeal to enterprises out there by doing single sign-on with Office 365. That's something that's a unique capability. And I think Julia said it right when she said it's like the Facebook for enterprise. The last piece is the Enterprise Mobility Suite. This one, perhaps to me, is the most strategic piece of what infrastructure development we're doing in support of enterprises. And it's all grounded on the complexity that needs to be tamed today. Because if you think about the variety of categories that have emerged with trends like bring your own devices and identity management. So you have device management as a silo today. You have identity management and access as a different silo. You have rights management and data protection. What we are announcing today is both offerings and a roadmap to build a comprehensive enterprise architecture for IT professionals to be able to bring together their identity management, access management, device management, and data protection into one suite and one enterprise architecture that works across all devices, Android, iOS, Windows. And that's really a massive step forward for anyone who's been tackling and dealing with the complexity that's inherent. And you have two sides to it. It really enables the IT professionals to be able to do their job and be heroes, because they can now enable the end users inside their organization to be able to have the flexibility and empowerment to use any application, any device, and at the same time ensure that the corporate assets are well protected. And that people-centric approach to IT is something that we have pioneered, and now we're bringing it together as part of the Enterprise Mobility Suite. So this, in a sense, is a cloud for everyone on every device. And as I said at the very beginning, the uniqueness comes from two aspects. One is to be able to span people's lives individually and into the organization. We're the company that obsesses about that, which is we don't like to leave things unfinished in terms of scenarios when you want to be able to do things in your life and you want to use the same applications for your work. And to be able to transcend those two is very core to how we approach everything we do. And the second aspect that's unique to us is how we want to bring the end user experiences that really empower everybody But at the same time, we want to enable a rich set of developer extensions and give the control to IT to be able to govern those experiences. That coming together of end users, IT professionals, and developers is ingrained in pretty much everything that we do, from Office 365 to Azure to our client platforms. And that's the uniqueness with which we approach our innovation agenda going forward. And as I said, today is just one aspect of our overall strategy. Today I was not talking about the all-up Microsoft strategy. I was talking about the most critical piece of innovation agenda, which is at the intersection of mobility and cloud. And you will hear us talk more about other things that we are doing. In fact, next week I'll be back here at Build, and many other leaders from our company will be here talking about the innovations in Windows. Because one of the questions right up front I wanted to address is, what about Windows? Where does Windows fit in with all of this? Windows is a massive agenda for us. We will innovate, and you'll see us talk next week about the great innovations in the operating system and great innovations in devices. At the same time, we are absolutely committed to making our applications run what most people describe as cross-platform great. There's no holding back of anything. It is about being able to excel everywhere our customers are. One of the questions is this a massive trade-off for you? There is no trade-off. It's reality for us. It's not a competitive reality. That's not what motivates us. What motivates us is the realities of our customers. What motivates us is to make sure that we build the great experiences that span the digital life and digital work of our customers, both individually and as organizations. And that's what you can count on us doing, both with Windows as well as other platforms. And that's what's driving us. We'll even have post-build another conference in a couple of weeks to talk about our data innovation. And I'm pretty excited about the work that we're doing in data. So the idea is that over the next even 4 to 4 weeks, you'll get a much better picture of our innovation agenda going forward and how all of these threads come together to define Microsoft in a mobile-first, cloud-first world going forward. So that's what we had for today. Thank you very much for all those who are joining on the webcast and those of you who are here in person. I appreciate the opportunity to have had a chance to represent Team Microsoft with you, and I look forward to seeing you all at Build next week. Thank you.